All right, there he is.
Here we are.
There's the man.
Welcome to the Creative Real Estate Mastery, Creative Real Estate Investing Mastery podcast. I don't know why I constantly leave that investing word out, don't I?
Well, we've got the Creative RE Capital Fund. We've got the Creative Real Estate Investment Mastery.
We got a lot going on, brother.
That's the one problem with creative financing, I guess, is trying to come up with names for products that you're pushing out there. But yeah, no, welcome, guys. We're did a little fund presentation last night. If you guys are out on YouTube, you checking this out, or you know where our YouTube channel is, go out and check it out. I mean, even if you're not an investor, go out and check it out. Maybe help us prop up the views out there. So anyway, how you doing today?
It's going all right. It's Friday fun day, so it can't be too bad. A little kinked up on the shoulder. I think I slept on it wrong or something. I just can't quite get that stretched out. But just want to make a comment too. Really enjoyed doing the investor presentation yesterday. We turned around. We sit here and start talking and chatting. We turned around and it was like 89 minutes later.
Yeah. It's easy to do, man. It's
thorough accounting of what we're doing with the fund and why we're doing it. I thought so. I liked it. Yeah, I liked it.
I attribute that to two things. One is the passion for doing it. One is a passion for what you're doing, and the other is, at least in my case, it's wanting to kind of spread the knowledge, and maybe even it's knowledge that people already know. I tend to I get long-winded, and I don't know. I could talk about this stuff all day. It's a blessing and a curse. Really, it really is. But no, I enjoyed it as well. I kind of wish we had chosen a different time of the day because I started getting woozy. I really started. I did. There's only so much that. Even after if we're on here for an hour, I just get like, ooh, like I got to get off here. Because it's the same sort of feeling. I'm just gonna say this. It's the same physical feeling as when I walk into a Walmart and I'm just like, woof, all these lights. I just got to get out of here. There's just too much going on. But no, I'm always. In addition to that, I'm always like I used to do this with the masterminds. I'd always want to. At the last minute, I'd just be like, man, I just really don't want to do this today. And then once I get into it, once I get rolling, it's just like, man, how did I miss out on that? That was so fun. That's how I feel about these things sometimes, But
well, we will. Without further ado, then we will.
Yep.
So, what is our topic today, Mr. Coffman?
All right, so we're going to talk about how to reframe seller objections into seller solutions. So. If you've never heard this before, maybe you're just hearing this for the first time, but anytime that we are at a seller appointment and the seller, and we get some kind of feedback, some kind of negative feedback from a seller, we consider that an objection. An objection, almost what they're doing is they're trying to get you to know. They're trying to get you to number one, understand their point of view. But every seller objection equals a no. Essentially, that's what it means. It's like, no, I'm not interested. No. So you kind of have to understand that, and especially in our business, when a seller objects, it's not necessarily a bad thing. So we're going to talk about how to reframe the conversation, talk about the mindset that I think most people, well, maybe not most, but some people just don't have this mindset that when they go and they hear an objection and they just, it's kind of, well, okay. But an objection is an opportunity. It's a definite, it's an opportunity for you to understand the situation and to really be able to bring value and actually help your seller, not only just to understand what it is that you're offering, but to help them, literally help them with whatever their problem is. It might be a physical thing, it might be something with the property, it might be a personal issue. You can help these people. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
So your mindset thing, I think, is important there, because if you are standing in front of a seller, you have a screaming hot lead, right? Because if the seller really wasn't that interested, or they were just testing it out, you wouldn't be standing there.
Yeah.
They would have ghosted you. They would have, stopped responding to you, or told you to go pound sand a long time ago before you ever stepped foot in the door.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure that you have that in mind, that this is and expect, right? Welcome, as you mentioned, welcome the objections, because it's your chance to educate, right? Solve the problem.
Yeah.
Solve the problem.
I often say, even in your marketing, if somebody, number one, if you're doing PPC, if somebody's going to go seek you out and they're going to fill out a form on a website, and website does provide you some sort of a little bit of anonymity, but ultimately they're going to have to talk to someone. It's going to take them a lot to get out there. I mean, if you really think about the mental space that they're in, it really does take someone a lot of, I don't want to say courage, but there's a lot going on for someone to go fill out a web form. Same thing with direct mail. If you're sending out, I consider anyone that answers a piece of direct mail, I consider that a pretty warm lead.
Yeah, pretty warm. Yep.
You got to understand, like, these people are getting this piece of mail from you, which they probably get thousands of, but they chose to call you. And so, in my book, that's a pretty darn warm lead. That's just kind of the way I've always looked at it. So keep that in mind as well. So let's talk about, I guess, let's talk about the why objections are a good thing. How they can be perceived as a good thing versus a bad thing. I think, from my point of view, I think that when a seller raises an objection, at least they're talking, right? Now, I've always talked about how our job as investors, or if you're wholesaling or whatever, is to get in front of a seller and ask questions, ask tons and tons and tons of questions. I mean, nothing builds rapport with any other human being than if you ask questions that makes them feel like they're being heard, and what they're saying you have an interest in. And so, to me, when you receive an objection to your questions, to me, it's not a bad thing. They're still in the conversation. They're still talking with you. I don't know about you. I've had several of those folks. If you've done, as many deals as we have here, you're gonna find people that are just, those objections come in. They come in different forms. F you, go pound sand, take me off your list, don't ever call me again.
Yeah. I think a couple of things that come to my mind is we're kind of in a blessed situation, because we and I know you probably more so than me, even less, but we get a lot of referrals from other investors or wholesalers or whatever the case may be. And so they've already warmed the lead up for us, so to speak. Like, we don't, I mean, if we're being honest, like, at least me, like, I haven't done direct mailing probably in, I don't know, probably about 4 or 5 years. You just haven't had a need to, right? With, and I pick and choose deals. I'm not trying to get 25 closed deals a month. That's not my, right? That's not my goal. Right. But and so we're kind of blessed. And so sometimes I think, with just what you said, though, I kind of don't think about a lot of times anymore, because I'm not actively sending the direct mail like I used to, and all of that too. But it's so important to make sure, yes, you understand, at least at a basic level, what the mindset is of your person. And of course, if they respond to a piece of direct mail, then they're not necessarily a scorching hot lead, but they're definitely a warm lead, like you said. And you need to keep that in mind. And I liken, we're here to solve the seller's problems. You cannot figure out what the problem is if you don't shut the hell up and listen. Right?
Yep.
Let the objections come. That's part of listening. Let the objections come. And then you have an opportunity to walk through them. And I liken it to going to the doctor's office. Like when you go to the doctor's office and you can tell the doctor's looking at the watch and it's going to spend 37 seconds in and charge you $150 for the office visit, right? Be the doctor that comes in and sits down in front of you and answers every question you have, right? Be that person for that seller. And like you said, the rapport and the trust will instantly be there because you took the time to do that.
Yeah.
Patiently took the time to do that.
Yeah. So definitely. I mean, I've just learned, I mean, this is really the bottom line is you have to get your repetitions in. I mean, first of all, to build that armor, that is definitely going to protect you from that mental armor. Rather, is going to protect you from the the likely abuse that you're going to get. But welcome the objections. I mean, maintain a clear head and a calm demeanor. The objections are nothing but information. That's all that it is. But you do have a couple of different types, I guess, of rejection. You have you have the obvious pushback. They're maybe they're nervous about what's going on. Maybe they see what you're doing, they see the value in what you're doing, but they're just really, they need reassurance about the situation, especially when it comes to creative finance. Like most people just do not understand. Most people have never heard of some of the things that we do. I mean, that's the majority of the public. So you have those types of people that just give you pushback, and you can be really constructive in dealing with that. It's really, and again, it's just repetition. It's just going out and talking to people. And then the other kind is obviously is ghosting, where you get just no response at all. And really, for those people, I think ghosting. There's two situations when we're talking about ghosting. One is, they just truly weren't motivated. They were just tire kickers. I've had those situations before where, and you'll hear this when you get on the phone with them. You'll hear this for sure. You need to just come out and look at the property. Just come out and see it. And it's like, no, I've learned my lesson. They're just tire kickers. They just want, possibly your advice on the house, and what do you think it's going to cost to get it fixed up, and what they're putting out their feelers.
Yep.
They might have even had their problem solved elsewhere. Maybe they listed with a realtor, maybe some other investor bought it or something like that. And also they may just not like you. You haven't done your job. You haven't built the rapport that you need to have. But also, with ghosting, there is this phenomenon of these folks burying their heads in the sand because they simply cannot handle the situation. They're having a problem processing what's actually happening. Like in the case of a foreclosure or something like that, it's so overwhelming that they just don't know how to deal with it. And a lot of times they will just disappear, man. They will just be gone. And so, follow
up.
Yeah, it's compassionate follow up.
Yeah, for sure.
Compassionate follow up. I mean, you really have to, if you're going to call and leave them a voicemail, which in these situations, I think you should pick up the phone. That would be the very best option is to pick up the phone and leave them a personal voicemail. The automation's fine and everything. It works great for, probably 85% of everything that you have to do. But in situations like that, where they're ghosting you because they're overwhelmed, they're embarrassed, they're whatever feeling or emotion they're going through, they're just not answering anybody. And I've seen people like that avoid their families.
Mm-hmm.
So they're certainly not wanting to talk to you.
Unplug completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just from you, but from everything, because they just can't get their head around how this happened, and they're a terrible person now because it happened.
100%.
Right?
That the very first property that I ever bought, I think we did a case study on it. It was 1 Colgate Circle was the address. But the very first, that was my very first property I ever got under contract. And do you know the seller on that property? I found this out later through a phone call from the son of the seller. And the son and the family had no idea that the seller sold this property to me. Had no idea at all. And I didn't, what do I know? I mean, it goes through title. They do a title search. I'm looking for does anybody else have an interest in this property? And even though they didn't, and because they didn't, meaning the siblings, son and the daughter, even though they didn't know this property was being sold, she kept it a secret from them that she sold it to me, which really is, if you think about it, there's some insight there. Like there is a level of shame, I suppose, or a level of embarrassment. And so that is a very real thing, and it's very, very common, especially in really tough financial situations like that. So,
are you ready for a little role play? Let's do a few. And I know we've done other podcasts where we've talked about seller objections and stuff, but it's always good and fun. You want to do a few of our most common seller objections?
Sure. I wasn't expecting this one, but let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. So let's just do a generic one. Like, why would I want to sell to you when I can just list the property with a realtor?
Well, I mean, so I'm the seller, right?
You're the buyer.
I'm the buyer.
Sorry, yeah, I'll be the seller. So I'm asking you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, you certainly have that option. You certainly can. In fact, I'll recommend a good agent if you'd like. But I see a few problems with listing this property, and I'm just going to give you a couple of what I call brutal truths. I mean, number one, you've got. I'm not here to critique or criticize your home, but there's some problems with this house that are probably going to need some fixing before you go ahead and list it. You're going to have people rolling through here. That's just the name of the game. You've got to be able to show this house. So be prepared for that. Number three is probably going to be a little expensive. I mean, I think your house might have enough in it to be able to afford to sell it on the MLS. So that's fine. But I think the value that I'm going to bring to this is that I can get this done really quickly. I can get this done in 7 to 10 days if we need to. So definitely happy to provide you the name of a really good agent, and I have definite interest in buying your house. But if that's the way you want to go, I'll definitely refer you out.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need that agent's name.
What's that?
I'm definitely going to need that agent's name. Yeah. I know your lowball bullshit offer that you just made me isn't going to cut it, brother. Like, I need that agent's name. So yeah, that's good. That's good. I liked how you did that though, with the, because you pointed out the obstacles that seller will encounter by trying to list it, right? First of all, it needs all kinds of updates. You didn't itemize the updates, but you certainly could in the conversation. Like, if the seller's like, "Well, what's wrong with that?" Well, first of all, it's a hoarder house. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but yeah.
Yeah, I just don't. I think this is going to be kind of off the wall a little bit, but very recently, I smoke a cigar from time to time, and while I'm smoking my cigar, I'll sit out there and I'll browse through some videos on YouTube or what have you, and I run across some of um, these game warden shows. And game wardens are often in highly volatile situations. It's probably even more so than somebody just a regular cop getting pulled over by the side of the road on the side of the road and or pulling someone over rather. We're talking about we know that the people these game wardens are talking to, they're armed, and so to watch a game warden actually de-escalate a situation, maybe that is one thing that maybe a little piece of homework for anybody listening to this. And even if you don't like those shows, go watch and study how a game warden talks to another human being. I mean, it's amazing. So I just kind of learned to don't get defensive. Don't be just be a normal person. Just have a normal conversation, and because it is likely going to be a highly emotional situation for your seller. So the more calm you can be about it, and you know it's like I didn't go in and I didn't say, well, your floors are terrible. I've actually seen people do this too. I don't know if you have, but I've been to appointments where I've seen other investors there, and I have witnessed people go in and just start tearing the house apart. Just like, and it's like, come on, dude. I mean, these people are already probably feeling bad enough that you're standing here. You just don't need to tear them down anymore. It's embarrassing is what it is.
Yeah, that's kicking someone when they're down. That's
Yeah.
not how. That's not practicing integrity when you're dealing with people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't like it at all.
And I think that's really good advice, because you don't need to point out unless you're directly asked. You don't need to point out every little thing that's in it. You just say, like, I'm sure you're aware the property needs some update.
Yeah, 100%.
It's probably realistically for me to come in and do that, it's going to be about $50,000. I'd have to itemize it out too. But I mean, I don't know what you think the cost is, but that would be my cost. Just so you get kind of an idea of where we're going. And it's like, oh, well, shit, that's a lot. That's a lot of renovation or rehab or whatever, whatever the numbers are. But when you're sitting there standing there, but good God, don't kick the people down. Like you already said, it's probably a distress situation. So let's talk about the distress situation. So let's say it's let's say they're behind, right? And maybe it's coming up to the old auction block here in Missouri. You got 21 days from that first notice. So maybe we're in that 21-day window where it might be going to the foreclosure block because the loan's in arrears and all that sort of thing. So, right, then the question of subject to comes up. So now I'm going to ask you, so now you've tossed out the idea of, well, we can take over your loan payments and all that stuff too. So why would I want, so I'm going to ask you again. So you're going to be the investor again.
Okay.
So why in the world would I want to leave my name on the mortgage and let you take over? Like, I don't want my name on the mortgage anymore. Like, how does that help me? Like, the problem is that I can't pay the damn mortgage. And now you're asking me to keep my name on it for another 24 years of the loan? Like, that's not, why would I want to do that?
Well, Ken, that is a really great question. I would say in this situation, and by all means, we could pay, we could potentially pay cash for this. It's possible. I haven't run the numbers yet, but maybe we can. But one thing I can tell you is that banks do not like, if you haven't made a payment for the past year, banks they don't want you to just come in and just pay it off. And I mean, it's gonna give you a bad name. What I would like to do, I think the greatest advantage to what I do is that I can actually help you rebuild your credit by doing this. Now, we don't have to hold on to it forever. If there's a certain amount of time that you can give me to make these payments, I would be willing to look at that. But I think that by me coming in and making these payments, it's just going to help you in the long run. It's going to help me as well. It's going to help me. But honestly, if I can get this figured out for you, then everything will fall in place for me. I'm not that worried about it. So no, it's not the ideal situation. It's not the best possible outcome that could, that we can come up with, or that can come out of this, but is a very viable solution to this problem. And I would certainly be willing to talk to you, sit down and talk to you more about how this all works, if you want to talk about it.
No, sounds like it's illegal to me.
It sounds like your microphone. What's that? What'd you say?
Sounds like it's illegal to me. I don't know. Sounds a little damn shady.
Well, I can assure you it's not illegal. I can give you some examples if you'd like. I can show you where I've done this many times. So be happy to provide you with some more information on it. Oh, by the way, I have this little form here let me grab my form. I have this little form here. It's called a HUD-1 settlement statement. And on this HUD-1 settlement statement, there are actually cells that you can, and if you don't know what a HUD-1 is, a HUD-1 is your closing statement. It's what you get when you buy or sell a property. Each party gets one, and there are actually spots on this HUD-1 settlement statement for this very type of transaction. So, I mean, if the United States government recognizes it, I think we're pretty safe.
Well, you just said the wrong thing to me. Like, I don't like the government, brother.
So, I don't like the government either, but we have to. They're helping in this situation. The government's, what's the saying? I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Yeah, yeah. But in this situation, you're right. There's a reason why it's on a standard of reform across the country in every state. So, hence it being legal. Yeah.
So, what else we want to? Are we done with the role playing thing? Or are we still going to go?
Yeah, no, we done with role playing.
We can go. We can keep going. It actually gives me a little bit of.
Well, how about just one more then? How about just one more, and I'll combine a couple. Okay. So, okay, I see how, like continuing the same conversation. Okay, I see how, like, if you make the payments on there, that'll help my credit. Like, so you're gonna make the arrears good, right? So the loan's current, and then you're gonna make my payments. Yes, I see how that would help my credit, right? Like you're automatically starting to build my credit. Like, okay, I get that. But what happens if you don't make those payments anymore? And on top of that, like, I need my walking away money from this. Like, I need all the equity now. Like, you told me it's a $225,000 property, in updated good condition. My loan balance is $125,000. Like, I need that money. I need the cash. Like, I'm in arrears. Like, I need the money. How are we gonna fix that?
Well, let's go back to your first question. Can you ask me again what's your first question?
Yeah. Yes. If you stop making the payments, what happens then? My credit's gonna go right down the shitter just like it is now.
Well, if I first of all, I want you to know that if we can get this done, if we can, if I end up buying this from you, I am going to be putting tons and tons of money into this thing. So a lot more money than I'm comfortable with losing. So if I don't make those payments, I lose that money. Just as you would lose the house, I would lose the house. So same scenario. So I am not really interested in inheriting those types of problems. As far as you needing some cash out of the deal, I'm certainly willing to sit down and talk to you about that. But I think in this situation that, given what the house needs, understanding the amount of cash that has to go into the house, number one, you just might not have as much equity as you think you do. That's yet to be determined. I'll get some people in here. We'll figure out what this is going to cost to get rehabbed and get it to that value. Secondly, as an investor, my job for my company is to find deals that make sense. If it doesn't make sense for me, I simply cannot buy it. And so if I give you $70,000 to to quote what you're saying, walk away, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for me to do that. It's just going to cut into my bottom line. So, I mean, what I generally do in these situations is I like to I can certainly, we can talk about giving you some cash to get you moved on to your next destination. Certainly willing to talk about that, but in these types of situations, I like to actually defer payments and pay over time, and I can actually pay you more by paying you over time. And I can show you what that looks like. But that lump sum is really going to cut into my bottom line, and that's just not something I can do as a business owner. So, if you want to talk about those payments, if you want to figure out how we can structure this where you get paid maybe a monthly, you get paid a monthly, you get a check every month. I would be willing to sit down and talk about that.
So let me get this straight. You're going to make my loan current. You're going to assume responsibility for the payments. You're going to potentially give me some walking away money, right? And I don't have to worry about this property anymore. Starting to warm up, Mr. Coffman. I'm starting to warm up.
And I'm gonna pay you a monthly. I'm gonna shoot you a check every month. I'm zoning on the word that I'm looking for, but yeah.
So, just so that I can walk away from the property, you're gonna pay me. You're gonna potentially pay me monthly. Sounds too good to be true.
That is the plan. I can't make any guarantees, but that is how I see this going down right now.
Sounds too good to be true. See previous comment about being illegal.
Yeah. You can't make me laugh while we're doing this, all right?
That was good. It was good. But these are some of the real things, and these are very legitimate questions, especially on a sub-2 deal or a seller file. Like you actually rolled it into the hybrid where you're going to do subject to, and then perhaps you're going to make payments to them over time instead of doing some, $20,000 lump sum to walk away, whatever that looks like. You just enveloped a hybrid deal all in one there without even telling the seller all the things that you got going in your mind with all that. That was
well, you kind of have to. I mean, they just go hand in hand. Everybody knows, anyone that's buying houses, you've got to get into them. You got to get the best deal that you can out of every property. It just doesn't make sense. I just do not like putting a bunch of cash up front into a property if I can help it. The thought of it, especially on a subject to deal where I don't want to sound crude or rude or anything like that, but you've got someone who's in a situation and they're already giving you a property subject to. So why are we not looking at they've already kind of given into the fact that they are quote your financier by giving you the property subject to. So why not talk to them if they're already in that, kind of in that mindset? Why not talk to them about structuring the rest of anything you might owe them? Maybe, if you owe them anything, if you come to that in your negotiations, why not talk to them about structuring those as low, as great a terms as you possibly can? Why would you not do that? So,
and I don't want to gloss over the two where I said as the objectionable seller, where it's like, okay, I'm starting to warm up to the idea. Now just think about that for a second. What did you just do? I'm going to get all this arrears in the debt, and I'm losing the house to foreclosure situation solved. Mm-hmm. I'm going to these monthly payments that I can't afford solved. My credit will be repaired automatically because someone else, are making the payments. Pretty good deal. And on top of that, I just heard from your hybrid structure that you proposed. I just heard that I'm going to walk away from this property. I could potentially get a monthly payment, to be determined, right? A monthly payment. Wasn't expecting that. That sounds like a win-win-win for me.
Well, I mean, on top of all of that, the icing on the cake is that your net positive out of this is, number one, you no longer have that monthly payment. Even though you haven't made it for a while, you no longer have, you're not obligated that monthly payment, and you're making cash on top of it. So your net monthly savings there is pretty large. It's pretty massive.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
it's just about how you approach it. Like you said, you're very mild mannered, and in that, like, you always have, because it's a distress situation, right? So you always you have that knowledge going in before, and maybe you don't. Some sellers play it close to the vest. Like, you may not know how distressed it is until you get in there and start talking to them, and now there's this whole other, avenue that's opening up from your conversation, right? Sub two deals are created, right? So
100%. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess we just kind of have to come back around to the beginning, and every one of those scenarios that you presented there as the seller, those are super super common objections. I mean, it's the reason that, I mean, I really don't know. I have nothing really. I might have a couple of things pre-planned when I'm presented with those questions, but it never comes out the same way twice, because you're just kind of explaining the process. You just have to. This is where getting your 10,000 hours in and talking to people over and over and over again. This is where you get comfortable with explaining this, and it's easy to explain once you understand it. The problem is that you have to be somewhat likable. You have to, like you said, you have to be empathetic. You've got to be able to maintain your wits about you, and it takes practice to do that. I'm not an expert at it by any stretch, but I do think that I now welcome these types of situations where I get I'm not a high strung type of guy, first of all. So if those of you that are, you might struggle with this a little bit, but and really, I think one of the best pieces of advice I ever got about that was actually just slowing down, trying to slow yourself down, and because we can, obviously you probably saw it there in a couple of those answers where I just get, my brain's moving on to the next thing that I'm trying to process, and so I just, before I forget it, I have to spit it out. So I'll speed up, but you got to catch yourself. You got to slow down. You got to give them time to ask questions and let them interject, and I don't know. I would just say you start doing this. Start doing this with your friends or with your coworkers.
Role play.
Yeah, start role playing, man. It's a little weird in the beginning. I remember the first time I ever actually did this. It was in a crowd, in front of, I don't know, there must have been probably 200 people in this audience, and we were role playing. And I was just like, I hope that one wasn't recorded, by the way, either. Because that would have been really just a nightmare. But yeah, just you just got to get over it. You got to get into a different mindset, really.
Yep. And can we toss out like the pro tip, just in a general sense, when you're going to seller appointments? Go prepared. Have your folder with your documents, right? I threw up the sub 2 document package in there too. Always be prepared. Have your sub 2 document packages in there. Have your real estate contract in there, right? Will you use it necessarily when you're going? No, but be prepared. You never know what might happen. Be prepared when you go. Have your package, your contract package. Like I never go to a seller appointment without having that stuff in my folder, ready to go out and say, this is what it looks like. If you just say, this is what it looks like if we move forward. Here's the purchase agreement. And by the way, that subject to I mentioned, we have a lot of other documentation because I need to protect you and I need to protect myself. because I'm going to take responsibility for those loan payments, and I want to make sure that you understand how I'm doing that. So there's some extra paperwork there.
Yeah, I mean, I always say, and I have an example of that too. Uh, I always say they're tools of the trade, so you must carry them with at all times. Carry them with you. You never know. We've got one of our students that he goes out and he's gotten a couple. This is the weirdest thing, by the way. He's gotten a couple deals at these flea markets. He goes
Yeah.
to flea markets and he's just constantly talking to people. But I'll come back and I'll say, "Well, where's the contract at? Where's the contract?" And I'm not saying that you're going to get a contract on a property while you're walking around a flea market. I mean, anything's possible, but it's like, okay, these are the tools of the trade. Have them with you at all times. In fact, so I've owned three, three cars. Yeah, since I got into this, 4 cars. I'm sorry, it's been 4, but I've owned 4 cars in the last 10 years. And that same folder that has my documents in it, it always sits in the back pocket of the driver's seat behind me. It's
Yep.
just there. And I've only ever used it maybe a couple of times, pulled documents out of there, but I have them with me. I'm prepared. So when that situation comes up, I can pull. Everything's almost done. Almost everything anyway, is done electronically these days. So. I can have someone sign a contract on my phone now at this point, but be prepared.
Yes, be prepared. That's right. So yes, the pro tip: be prepared, especially with the contracts and docs. You never know
I
what.
see I see the life drain out of you when I said, you can do it on your phone. I feel the same way, by the way, but nevertheless,
Yeah,
it gets deals done. So,
well, that is true. That's all good. So, Mr. Coffman, just a couple questions to kind of put the points. How many, just off the top of your head, put you on the spot. How many subject to transactions do you think you've been a party to over the last 10 years of real estate investing?
well over 300, at this point. Yeah.
So would you say then that it's a true and accurate statement if I was to say you're an expert at dealing with sellers because you've, especially subject to creative transactions, because you've been a party to over.
I don't like the word expert, but I will say,
Okay. Well, I was going to use guru, but I know you hate that more.
no,
So
I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable talking to them. Yeah, I look forward to talking to them now. Where I've told the story before, where I'd hop on the phone with them, with these sellers. Well, before I hop on the phone, I would plan the whole thing out in my head. How's this conversation going to go? And I would pace the floors back and forth, wearing out the. I have carpet in my basement, wearing a carpet out, just wearing it out, wearing a path in the carpet, and all to get on the phone. And that conversation had nothing to do with what was in my head at all. It did not go the way I thought it was going to go. But yes, so I do feel comfortable talking to them.
excellent. Plus that. And if the seller asks, like, why should I go with you? Can you close the deal or whatever? Like, those are good credibility pieces. Or we were talking about credibility yesterday with the fund. Those are good credibility pieces. So you can say, well, I've done, not to toot my own horn, but I've done over 300 of these, so I can definitely close. I can give you referrals. I can give you references if you want to talk to people, right?
Yeah, I would even go even further than that, and I'd say, well, by doing it the way that I'm proposing, buying it subject to, which I really don't use the term subject to when I'm talking to a seller, but I'll say, by me taking over your payments and structuring payments over time, I mean, that only strengthens my resolve to get it closed. It's going to be much easier to close it this way than it is going some other route, going out and qualifying for a loan and it's just going to take time. And by that time, if they're in foreclosure, by that time, this thing can be sold. So, I mean, I think this is your best option.
Yep. Sounds good. Well, that's I enjoyed that. What else do you have for day? Are we
What else do I have? I think that's really it. I just kind of wanted to talk about this today. I don't know. This was one of those things where, transparency comes into play, and when I tell the audience, like, a lot of times we just get on here, most of the time, in fact, we just get on here, we meet a half an hour before we jump on, and we figure out what we're going to talk about. I really wanted to talk about this today. I felt like it needed to be said, so I actually had this all planned out, everything ready to go by the time we jumped on. Didn't even have to talk about it. We got to talk about other stuff. So
yeah, and I, for one, enjoyed that. So I didn't have to think about the topic. But we there's so many. We try not to get so bogged down in all the details of stuff too. So sometimes trying to be more general, and when we frame things, it's hard because it overlaps with other episodes. So we try to keep fresh content in there. But I like that too. Like, solar objections is nothing but an opportunity to solve problems and get contracts. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and when I get on a roll, you talked about trying to not get bogged down in the details. It's very hard for me to do. Like, I struggle with that. Like, I want to get deep, like, almost all the time. So I hope that helps people. Hopefully, if it helps them to be able to understand things a little bit more. If they get, on the other side of the coin, they could just be sick of listening to me. Who knows? But yeah. So you just popped it up there, guys. We get the deal partner program over there at Sub2 Empire, and this thing is for me, it's just a different way. It's just a different way for us to instead of having students, we now recruit partners, and it's just a little bit different program. We're actually you can read about it all over at sub2empire.com, but I would advise you to go check it out. It's a very unique program. Benefits both sides very in a very unique way. It's been a lot of fun. So
and this is shame on us, because we mentioned this before too. We need to get some updated testimonials from our partners on there and get them. So this is, we actually do this. We don't just say we do it. We actually do it. So,
and we can automate that. I'm just so bad about that. I started getting those, like, even from just the deals that I was doing on my own. I started getting testimonials. I got a bunch of testimonials, and then it kind of fell off. But now we kind of don't have an excuse. We can automate that.
Excuse. We could say we're busy and they're doing the deal partners. And of course, as everyone knows, that we just launched our complimentary fund and all that too. So, we got a lot of things going on, but that's not, we need to get the testimonials, because we keep saying we're real people doing real deals. Well, there are real people that we're helping that we should shout out more about.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Well, I don't have anything else. I think we should do that role playing thing some more often. That's fun.
Yeah. So, see, I like being the objectionable seller.
I know you do. That's right up your alley.
That was good stuff too. So.
Yeah, this is kind of I'll get off of this. We'll end this thing here in just a second, but that's kind of where, in real life, that's kind of where we sit. Mm-hmm. You get. No offense, brother. You get elevated, and I just got to be the one to be like, hey, let's bring it back down. Let's think about it, and then once we go through that process, we seem to be okay. We seem to do all right. So,
and then you say, and why aren't you more pissed off about this?
Yeah. What good is it going to do? Let's figure out a solution. I'm a solutions guy. So, but yeah, I'm not usually highly emotional about too many things, and. Yeah, so it works out. It works out.
It does.
All right, guys, we're gonna hop off of here.
Thanks for joining us, and have a great week until next Friday.
Yep, 11